edition of Addington News. Once again, Darren Williams doing it remotely off the back of, pretty good race night last Friday night. How did the figures stack up?
Yeah, the turnover was okay, Greg. It was just over 800,000. If you like, slightly a wee bit disappointing, we thought. We had a really good on-course, really good tote turnover, and the fixed odds just wasn't quite where we thought it might be. But there has been a lot of racing, and of course there's a huge amount of racing again this week, which has really stretched the fields. Obviously with Amberley on Monday having such a terrific day, and it was good to see them do that. They did 1.4 million, so just tremendous stuff. A couple of big jackpots out there. Oamaru on Wednesday, Addington on Friday, and then of course the Cheviot meeting at Addington on Sunday. So it's stretched the horse population probably a wee bit further than we'd like. It's one of the things we've made in submissions around dates for next year, is just to have a look at this week, just to see if there's a way that we can make that a wee bit better.
Yeah, of course, 9 races at Addington this week, and the numbers are on the lights of it. Tell you what, there's some cracking contests, and we're going to go through those race by race. But just a reminder to those owners and those people wanting to attend, we're still under the red light, and most people are handling that situation pretty well.
Yeah, look, I think so. If anything, we've had a few being a wee bit slack with wearing masks, so that's taken a few reminders, which is a wee bit frustrating for staff and stipendiary stewards and everyone else. We know it's a bit warm, we know it's a bit unpleasant, but we've got to do what we've got to do and race for as long as we can. And you look at a club like Amberley or Cheviot, who just race once a year. It's frustrating as hell for them. They do such a good job. And it's difficult. It's not easy, which of course is why we're used to doing it at Addington, because we race so often. But everything's the same as it was last week. The members and the owners are in spectators, and they're more than welcome to come. They just check in through the linkway, have to have their vaccination pass with them.
Of course, we're on the eve of the New Zealand Bloodstock sale, a big night for Auckland on Saturday night with their half a dozen Harness Millions race night. Looking forward to that. And Friday night, let's get into a decent sort of a preview for these races, and you'll be able to check that out too on the box seat. Delayed a day this week as a result of those fields just coming out that little bit later and doing a decent preview of the sales. So, Darren, your first Friday night, 5:21.
Yeah, the IRT Your Horse Our Passion Trot. So an interesting field. Kevin Townley with 3 horses in there. What do you like in this one, Greg?
Yeah, look, I'm keen on a couple of his. Very consistent Harbour Queen. Keeps going great races, beaten in the last couple, but I think due a winning turn. So it'll start favourite, and from that good handy barrier draw off the front, John Morrison, we'll touch on later on, is certainly driving in great form, and he's got Take After Me just drawn to its inside. Always to be respected, Take After Me just goes solid races. And the other one of Kevin Townley's I thought had a decent chance was Agui. I think that's how you say it. Pretty close up last time. So I'm sort of around the 5-13, and Take After Me is always a chance, the 4 for first 4 players.
Yeah, look, Greg, Take After Me, of course, successful both pacing and trotting, and it's just shy of $200,000 in stakes. Tremendous result for them, and just races every week and just keeps going.
Yeah, Fred Scott has done a great job, particularly in the last 12 months with this horse. They've had the family tragedy, and the horses, yes, kept their spirits up in many ways. So go another great race, I'm sure, on Friday night.
Yep, race 2 goes at 5:51, so Dunstan Horse Feeds Mobile Pace.
Really good maiden field. Gee, this will be the one that My Sky go back to, and you'll say, oh, that one's won, and that one's won in the last few weeks. Mr. Lincoln, close up last week for the man they call Chunky, who does plenty of work around the grounds there at Addington Raceway. Jim Curtin trains and drives. It's a great chance. Glory's Delight's going to win races. Probably disappointing last time, and I thought possibly could have won in her first 3 starts, but she'll get one, and it may very well be this week. Coachella, Ken Barron trains, has trialled up really nicely. He's got a bit of breeding about it. And then the likes of Swift Guy, who again is going to win a maiden. It's just a case of not if, but when. Magic moments in there too for Mark Jones. So, yeah, plenty of depth to this one. I think Glory's Delight can beat Mr. Lincoln, and Swift Guy is drawn to get the best possible run. So if I had to line them up, it's probably 5, 4 and 1 from the barriers.
Race 3, the New Zealand Standardbred NZB Standardbred Mobile Pace at 6:21, race 3.
Yeah, look, excellent contest. This probably down to the two, that being last week's winner in Cranbourne, and great to see him back in winning form. Matthew Williamson steered him to victory. Getting him away from the stand was the key. He's drawn inside Alta Wise Guy, who's been the absolute find. No question about that at all. Since winning the age pace at Kaikoura on the 1st of November, hasn't he gone on the rampage? He only got beaten on Cup Day, and basically he's been unbeatable since. Races like the Green Mile, and obviously his last start victory over Pembroke Playboy and one change in the Invercargill Cup. So he's got options, Tim Williams. It's going to be a battle of tactics. They're the two best in it. Then you got the likes of Beach Ball, who's drawn beautifully in Barrier 2 and keeps racing well, but it's a decent step up. And Sounds of Cash has talent. But it looks the lock Quinella of the night. Just who wins will be determined by who grabs the early ascendancy over the 1980.
Race number 4 is at 6:51, the Livermore Handicap Trot. And there's some useful types in this, in particular the player dropping back from more trickier company lately.
Yeah, and it was in a tricky race on Monday as well, Darren, as you well know, getting off a handicap and getting wide anywhere around that Rangiora grass track is not an easy task. So back to Addington, yep, should be suited to the player. Royal Pride was going to win for fun, wasn't it? It was in front and home for all money and rolled into a late gallop. So that was a bit of heartbreak there for the Fletcher team, but loves Addington Raceway. I reckon it'll go a cracking race this week, Royal Pride. So I'm definitely thinking it can nearly win the race. And then you've got Time Up the Hill. We talked about her last week. I expected her to bounce back. She's not trotting as well as what she can. We all know if she does, she'd probably clean this field up. So I'm going to go around 4, 8 and 10. But, yeah, the best each way in the race is Royal Pride.
Race 5 is the last leg of the early quaddie, going at 7:20, the Allied Security Pace.
Trap race this, Bollinger back to a stand. I don't think it'll be a problem, but it just has that little bit of trepidation about him from a stand. His last 2 wins, excellent. He's obviously in the right zone at the moment, so he's the one to beat. Brother John will give you a sight. Will step quickly and put himself right in the race. Jared O'Reilly for the Duns. Mark Dunnett's been a revelation since domiciling himself at the beach, so you've got to consider him. So 13, 14, 2, you need all 3 on your ticket for me in your quaddie anyway.
Race 6, of course, is the first leg of the late quaddie, the Fahey Fence Hire 50th New Zealand Standardbred Breeders' Stakes. First run in 1973, won by Royal Belmer, owned, of course, by John Osborne and Morris Vermeulen. He Quinella the race with another one that he had in there. The late Jack Smolenski, of course, trained and drove. And I think that field, when you look back at it, Greg, it's 50 years ago, but some of the families that have come out of that particular race, one including Miss, who started in that first one, her first foal to the race is, of course, the great Armalite, who unfortunately didn't win this race. She ran second to Bonnie's Chance in a rampage by Bonnie's Chance. She won it 3 times. And you look through the record book, just some outstanding mares have won this race. And it's one thing that you can do on the Harness Race New Zealand website is to click on the major races and have a look back, and you can look back at the history for most of the races that are run right throughout the country, and those at Addington as well. So it's the 50th running, a very important time, as we said, with the sales coming up and for the breeders. So a very, very talented field full of Group 1 winners.
Yeah, it deserves to get a quality field like this. You think about some of those great horses, and obviously Bonnie's Chance 3 times. I think Blossom Lady, I think she won it 3 times. Some great battles with horses like Lento, Mainland Banner. This is one of only 2 Group 1 races, Adore Me, in recent years that the mares only have. So I think Louisiana Belle Midfru's the only 3-year-old filly that's ever won the race. So, you've got to be absolute top class to win it. And this field this week, Bella Montana Barrier 1's got plenty of options. All American Lover's going to be looking for a sit. Better Twist is nothing short of outstanding when she can get to the markers. There's only one place she'll be going. Life's a Beach was excellent, winning last week. Yes, it was down in grade, but she's been a Group 2 winner at Auckland, beating most of these, leading into the Queen of Hearts, of course. Won by Better Twist back in December. Need You Now, the record of horses that have won the Premier Mares and gone on and won, I think from memory it was about 7 or 8 since the turn of the century, have won both. She's drawn out, so she's going to need pretty much a lot of speed up front, because I can't see her getting anywhere near the lead early on. And then you've got the likes of Darling Me, who loves to sit and a real dash at them. Kelly's Delight's been racing great. It's just a deep, deep race. I see the bookies have opened the market up, flip of the coin for Better Twist. They're thinking probably what I'm thinking, Darren. She'll find the lead. And if she does that and is in on the markers, there's only one that can beat her. In my opinion, that's Bella Montana. She loves Addington Raceway. She was right back to her best last time. I think it's a very good Quinella. I just think Better Twist might be stronger over the 2600, so I'm gonna plumb for the favourite.
I think a terrific place bet, Greg, will be All American Lover. Certainly a mare going places very, very quickly now, and it's a big step up, obviously, against all of these again, but she's a wee bit unlucky in the Premier Mares Classic.
Yeah, she definitely was. And the other way you might want to think of it too is first four players. There's a little horse called Folklore, which is drawn directly behind, of course, Bella Montana. And I know Michael Guerin gets at length to tell you on the box seat each and every time there's a Group 1 race, markers. If she's in on the markers, she has as good a finishing kick as anything. She's a definite first four player. And we saw that in the Hunter Cup once again with Mac Dan back on the rails behind King of Swing and Amazing Dream, getting itself into the top four. So don't be surprised to see Folklore fill a top four spot. But you're absolutely right about All American Lover. She's come a long, long way in a very short time.
Race 7's the Avon City Ford Mobile Pace at 8:14.
Tricky race. I went running numbers here, Darren, 4, 5 and 6. Roll your own. It hasn't always been accorded the best of luck, but I reckon from the barrier this time can get itself into a nice spot. Tim Williams for Grant Payne. It can definitely win another race at short notice, so I'm happy to have it on whatever sort of ticket you're playing, maybe your quaddie. Lockhart Shard from the strong Purden Cullen barn. It'll always get a decent sort of a run with Johnny Cox doing the steering, so I expect it to be a chance. And Cab Callaway is not the worst. It wouldn't shock me if Blair Orange pressed the go button on it and got itself in the fight. Trickiest race of the night, though, because Mossdale Terry might progress further than most of these, but has the widest front row barrier draw. So, yeah, tricky race, the Avon City Ford. And what awesome supporters they've been at Addington for well over 30 years.
Absolutely. Race number 8's the Lamb and Haywood Mobile Trot at 8:41, and a couple of these really getting their chance without Muscle Mountain in the field.
Yeah, I reckon Midnight Dash will be pretty happy to wave his hoof at him as he leaves the button on Friday night, because he's chased him home his last two. He was excellent last week. I think he'll win the race. The real interest, of course, is around Chief of Staff. We haven't seen him since his career-defining run, win fourth in the Dominion. So there's no reason to think that Chief of Staff won't go a good race fresh up. Midnight Dash might just have that fitness edge on him. And then you've got Regal Attire, who seems to be getting better with racing. But seriously, if you're having one bet on the night, you'd have to be thinking Midnight Dash. There's only one caveat I'll put on that. Hasn't won since May last year, Darren. So isn't winning out of turn. In his defence, though, he's invariably been in the best races.
Heavyweight Hero, of course, had a gallop last week, and I know that Bob's done a lot of work to get him back to the track after a small injury. So good luck to the connections there. Race number 9's the last of the card, the last leg of the quaddie. First Direct Taxi's Mobile Pace at 9:06.
Yeah, unbeaten Oneiden Mickey, and the way he was arrogant in his display last time, sitting parked and just dashing away. Why wouldn't he just win again? It's hard to argue that it's not even a stronger field, to be honest. So I think he's one of the bets of the night, but it is a step. And when you think about Better Grunter, will probably be on the markers first and going forward for the Baron Orange combination. Dew Flirt is a handy sort of a mare that's was fresh up last time. Will improve off the back of that, and maybe Mr. Perfect's got a chance too. Yeah, you have to think Oneiden Mickey's the clear top pick, though. So 6 for me, ahead of Better Grunter, who will be an anchor for most around their first fours. And then you've sort of got Mr. Perfect, the 5, and a Dew Flirt. But a good race to complete the night, and First Direct Taxis associated so often with that last race.
Yeah, look, it's going to be a good night. So hopefully you can get a winner out of those selections. Obviously, all of the forms available on all of the websites. Picks will be on the Addington website by about Thursday. From a couple of tipsters, as well as all of the form on the box seat. Greg, it'd be remiss of us not to mention the passing of Roy Purden. I know that a lot of work will have been done on that on the box seat this week, and a lot's been said about what a great man and an absolute gentleman he was. The New Zealand Metropolitan Trotting Club and Addington Raceway pass on their condolences to the wider family. We've made contact with them all, and yeah, look, a sad time for the industry. An absolute legend as a trainer, and his attention to detail passed on to all of the rest of the family who follow the same footsteps and making sure all the wee things are done so the big things look after themselves.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. And I thought it was epitomised by Nathan's reaction to winning with Spellbound in the Ladyship Cup there on Saturday night. And I thought the team there on course did a magnificent job. And Jason Bonington's interview with Nathan, where he summed it up. He said, Grandad was a great horseman, but he was a better grandfather. And, you know, that for me said it all. Look, his record here in New Zealand, over a couple of thousand wins. He's been invited into all of the Hall of Fames across Australasia. He got an MBE, of course, 54 or 55 Group 1 winners here in New Zealand, 4 New Zealand Cup. There wasn't anything that Roy Purdon didn't win on the track, but off the track, he was admired by so many, and he always passed on that little bit of advice, Darren, that, you know, whenever you heard from him, or you saw his name come up on the phone, you sort of thought, right, I'm about to hear something from one of the greats of all time. But he never wanted to talk about himself or his feats. He wanted to always talk about the boys or his grandsons. And yep, he's going to leave this earth, leaving an enormous hole for the family. But what he's done is clearly made the greatest contribution to harness racing probably of anybody. And that legacy is going to continue on for a very, very long time. And not only in harness racing, in racing, but across sport. Anyone who knows anything about sport in New Zealand or about harness racing has heard of Roy Clevedon Purdon. And yeah, just a pleasure to have known the bloke and got to spend some time with him as well.
Yeah, well said, Greg. Our thoughts, as I say, go out to the family. Look, that's the end of this Addington news. We're going to leave you with a video from last week, the last race on the card. Life's a Beach winning, and of course she dropped back in grade a little bit. She steps up again to the Group 1 this week. It was the 4th win on the night for Johnny Morrison, who just had an absolute blinder. And of course,
his best ever too, Darren. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's driven.
Yeah, and trained by Tony Barron, who a couple of weeks ago took a great team to the races and didn't have much luck. And I think if you follow Tony Barron the next wee bit of time, he's got a lovely team around him, and we want to wish them good luck with Life's a Beach. So have a look at that on the way out. And we look forward to a good night Friday night.
Grunter and Motormouth, 29.8 the third quarter. Life's a Beach now called upon. Beach Ball back to the inside to try and come after the mare, but she's going great guns, Life's a Beach. 2 in front from Beach Ball. Franco Macho and Better with Bling. Life's a Beach a half a length in front. Here's 4 for the night for John Morrison. Life's a Beach wins it. Beats Beach Ball. Motormouth made good ground for third from Manjimup. Then came Better Grunter from Ray